Hello everyone and welcome to another one of my videos. I'm Dr. Laura Mock, DDS, and I'm here to talk to you today about bad habits. Woohoo! Just a little update on how things are going with my videos. So this is my 15th video and I've been doing this for a little over a month. I have now 50 subscribers on YouTube. So I'm hoping to get a few more on there, and I have 225 followers on Facebook. I know there's more of you guys out there. So if this is something that you're landing on right now and it's new to you, please subscribe on YouTube. It helps me be visible for other people. And also, if this isn't your first video, and there's been one that you've seen in the past that's made an impact on you, would you consider, as a personal favor to me, sharing that video with somebody else in your life? The reason being that if you share something that's meant something to you, to somebody else, not only can I help someone else, but then there's one more person who's aware of my videos, because I really would like to reach as many people as possible. So, that being said, let's move on to our subject of the day. Do you have a bad habit that you're hoping to get rid of in 2019? We all have bad habits. Let's name some of them so that just in case you have one that you think you're alone with your bad habit, you're going to find out that you're not. So there's drinking too much, overeating sugary crap, yelling at your kids, yelling at your spouse, binge watching on Netflix, shopping too much, using a credit card, getting online, buying things that you shouldn't be buying, going outside of your budget. There's all sorts of stuff that we do. And if we're going to try to get rid of a bad habit, the first thing that we have to do is understand what a habit is from not just a behavior standpoint, but a biological standpoint. So if we're thinking of ourselves as biological creatures, we have to understand that our brain is programmed to keep us alive. And if you don't believe me, try not breathing for 2 minutes and see what happens. Your brain's going to take over. Your brain wants you alive. And not only that, but the brain is also programmed to seek pleasure. So this might be in the form of food or sex or sleep or several other things that we think just feel really nice. And if you think about it, this is all nature needs to get what nature... I'm going to start over. Thanks for understanding. All nature needs is those two drives: keep us alive and keep us seeking pleasure, in order for nature to get what it wants from us. And you know what that is, right? It wants us to make a few more babies and procreate for life. So if you think about it, if you just stay alive and seek pleasure, nature's done its job. So now take that creature that you are, being formed by nature, and put yourself into our current day cultural surroundings. Not just cultural, but also physical, because life is just so much easier and more comfortable than it used to be. And we get bombarded with things that our brain is like, oh yes, this is pleasurable. So it could be sugar in our food. It could be the abundance of booze that's available. Hello, have you even ever walked into a grocery store lately? It's all over the place. Did you know at Hy-Vee, because I live in the Midwest, so the nice grocery store is called Hy-Vee. And if you go in there and you're in the produce section, they just put the alcohol, the beer, and the wine in amongst the vegetables. They really do that. So anyway, the booze is everywhere. The screens. Hello, oh my gosh, my screen is my best friend. It is always right here, you guys. And then besides that, so those are things that our brain is attracted to because of the pleasure and the reward. But there's also other things that our brain's like, ooh. So for example, that would be the stress that we want to hide from about stuff that wouldn't have mattered 500 years ago. For example, I'm awake in the middle of the night, which happens to me a lot, and I'm stressing because I have to get up before the sun. If I were alive 500 years ago and I was asleep in the middle of the night, it'd be fine. I'd just sleep until I was ready to wake up in the morning. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But in our life today, I have patients and they have waited for their appointment and they want me to be there. Plus, I got to get my kids ready for school first. So we've got this environment that we're dealing with, and it's only natural that we have accumulated those bad habits. In fact, if you didn't have any bad habits right now, I'd be like, girl, what's wrong with you? What universe are you from? You were clearly not created by the nature that created me. Next, we have to look at ourselves now that we understand that it's natural that we've created these bad habits. We have to look at ourselves as creatures of nature with some understanding and some compassion. Our bad habits are the product of our environment. Just like those Pavlov dogs who got trained to salivate when they heard the bell because they always got food, moms who stress when they get home, they go for the wine or the frosting or the Netflix or whatever. And I know you guys aren't all moms, but you get what I mean. Now I'm going to say something about an advantage that we have as humans, and I want to preface it by saying this is not against animals. I think animals are super smart and amazing. And in fact, if you haven't seen Blue Planet 2 yet, you really need to. There are some fucking smart animals on that. Oh, speaking of which, did you guys ever see my mug? I do not spew profanities. I enunciate them clearly, like a fucking lady. Anyway, so animals. We have an advantage as humans, and that is that we have an enormous prefrontal cortex, which means that we can take these habits that we have and evaluate them and decide whether we want to keep the habits or not. So, where was I? We can choose if we're going to keep our habits or not. But here is the thing. I can't just say, well, as of today, I'm not going to drink anymore. Because you know what? I'm going to have an urge tomorrow, the next day, the next day, the next day. And if my only plan is to have self-control, it's not enough. I have to have a better plan. I have to have a strategy. So I'm going to go over this strategy with you now. Number one, you're going to choose the habit that you want to get rid of. And you're going to write it down. This is really important, you guys. Not only do you have to write down the habit that you're going to get rid of, you have to write down all of your reasons, as many as you can think of. Have a giant brainstorming session. And then you're going to ask yourself with kindness and compassion, what triggers you for indulging in this habit? So for example, I used to yell at my kids. I mean, who doesn't? But I used to yell at them a lot more than I used to. Excuse me, let me say that again. I used to yell at them a lot more than I do now. And what would trigger me is actually just getting in the car with them. Because as soon as we got in the car, they would either ask me for something or they would start arguing with each other. And it was like, boom. Like I was even just pre-mad. I was pre-ready to yell at them. So for me, that trigger was getting in the car with my kids. For somebody who smokes, it might be finishing a meal or getting in the car to drive or being out for drinks with their friends. I don't know what triggers you for your bad habit, but you have to identify what that or those triggers are. And then you're just going to practice noticing when you feel the urge. For example, I'm home, I'm cooking dinner, I open the fridge, there's half a bottle of wine in it, and I'm like, ooh. So in that moment, when I go, oh, I'd like to drink that, I would like to go to there, I have to go, oh, I just felt an urge, and observe it with curiosity. Then you're just going to write down or tell a supportive person when those urges or triggers are and how you feel, what's happening when the urge comes up. Next, you're going to make a plan for when you feel the urge. So this is a couple weeks down the road because you need to have practice noticing when the urge is. And then you're going to plan an alternate activity. You can't plan the activity until after you understand what's making you feel the urge, because there's some activities that you wouldn't be able to do in certain situations. For example, if I'm cooking dinner and I want a glass of wine, I can't just stop and take a walk because I'm cooking dinner. But I could get myself some tea instead. See my point? So you're going to make an alternative plan. And then when you feel ready for your distraction replacement plan, you're going to implement it. And you can do it. You're going to make your plan and do it. You're going to be just fine. And here's another thing. You're going to mess up a couple times, at least a couple times. But when you mess up, understand it's not all over. And in fact, every time you mess up, it's a wonderful opportunity for you to look back and see what you did. See what those urges were. What was different about that time? What were your thoughts when you decided to give in to your urge? That's a wonderful opportunity to do better next time because you're going to understand more about the circumstances that make you give in to urges. Once you've been doing your habit for 6 to 8 weeks, you've got a pretty good pattern of behavior down. But I recommend that you continue to stay on guard because you can backslide pretty fast. It's amazing how fast I won't go into it a lot, but some of you guys know I haven't been eating sugar, but I sure have eaten a lot more refined carbohydrates over the holidays as I'm used to. So I am back on being more careful about that too. It's really easy to do, and it's okay. I'm still a good person and I still love myself, and I'm just going to keep on trying. So, what habit are you going to break this year? I would love to hear from you. You could email me, or you could make a comment on my YouTube page or on Facebook. Reach out to me in private if you want to. Let's talk about it. Right. And if you want to hear more about the psychology of bad habits, go back to my episodes 3 and 4. They're titled with something with buffering in the title. I can't remember exactly what, but episodes 3 and 4 talk about buffering, which I describe as something that we do to cover up a negative emotion. If you watch the buffering episodes, you will be more empowered to break whatever bad habit it is that you decide you want to break. And good luck. I hope you have a wonderful 2019, and I can't wait to hear about the habits. Thank you, everybody.